nice because you're sort of trying to find your footing the first season, and then by second season you're hoping you're going to kind of, you'll know what the show is, you know.
I think the show, I mean, I think it already knows what it is.
Yeah,
pretty much, you have to, because I mean, it's pretty right off the bat. You know, they throw you in, and it's kind of like fans are going to love it or they're not, and they love it so far.
I think so. I feel like we've had really good feedback and a good response.
Yeah. Now we've seen, obviously, you had a little bit of an issue in Sanctuary Part 1 where she kind of got accosted by people she was not expecting.
I did, and that,
Is this something that going forward, is she going to have to maybe look at people differently, and is this going to change her going forward?
When, like, there's a, when the scene where Sarah, his character Maggie teaches me how to use the gun, it's just, it's Anne, she's not a violent person, she's a pacifist, she's a doctor, and at this point now she has to face the fact that aliens are not just the enemy, it's actually, other human beings. Right. And I think that was the biggest surprise for the character.
Okay, and what does that look like going forward? Does she start fighting?
I don't start fighting. I think we're going to hopefully we'll see a little bit more of that in second season. But I think I have a bit of more of a guard up. Okay. I think I'm a little more defensive. Okay. Certainly.
And I think with good reason, because we learn about this deal that they've been making with the Skitters, and that's not something you ever want to hear.
People are just bad. But the point is, once again, that people can be sometimes, humans against other humans is far worse than aliens.
Right. And no, but is that the worst that we're going to see in season 1 between the interhuman issues and fighting, or does it get even
more? There's going to be a reveal. There's going to be there's more revealed about the aliens. There's twists.
Okay.
It reveals more about who's in charge and who's not, and what you think might be, might not.
So now is that going to shake up who's in charge in terms of Second Massachusetts? You see Anne maybe stepping up and taking a leadership role the way Tom has?
I think it's more to do with Will. Will and Tom. Will has a more complicated relationship with Tom, and just with his own sanity, he starts to lose it a little bit.
Right. Well, I think anybody would.
Right? I'm surprised most of us. I'm way too healthy for a post-apocalyptic setting.
Well,
I think Anne needs to be a little more effed up.
We can see her drink a little bit more, maybe. Maybe second season, just hold a bottle at all times.
Like just a flask.
Yeah. Gun in one hand, flask in the other.
Just take the edge, stethoscope.
Of
in
course.
one hand, flask in the other. Why not?
Can you talk a little bit about when Hal figures out what's going on with these people in Sanctuary? What is his reaction?
I wanted to play that whole episode that he was suspicious the whole time. Not really vocalizing it, but that is why he steps up and ends up going on the mission, because something doesn't feel right. So, there towards the end, Hal still has no idea. But in this next episode, it's actually my favorite of the entire series. Some really interesting things start happening, because it's very, very much like how it would be in life, I would think. There's going to be some very noble people.
Right.
There's also going to be people who, have started bartering and trading and sort of slipping. I think Henry Czerny, who plays that role, you can even see a little sympathy in his eyes when he's doing that first trade of like, yes, I know this is wrong, but this is what I have to do. This is what the world has come to.
And now that your brother is back, what is the next? I mean, that was such a big, noble, heroic move that all he wanted was to get his brother back. Now he is back. So what is his next move?
Again, the way I played that was, I felt like in the beginning, he was my brother, but he's my younger brother. He's a little geeky. I figured we probably didn't even get along really well, but just the fact that he's my brother, you can't mess with my brother. I had this personal vendetta against him. But what's to come is, Hal is just as curious as anybody else of what happens when the Skitters have you. More specifically, what do the harnesses do? And so, he's trying to feel out his brother in a very soft way, because he doesn't know how traumatic it is and this and that. And so, he's going to be trying to figure those things out.
What can you tell us? What is her reaction when she learns what's going on with the Skitters and Sanctuary's deal?
It's not surprising to Margaret. Margaret's somebody who expects the worst situation at all times and is prepared to fight at all times. So I think it's par for the course.
So she's ready to fight her own kind, in addition to the Skitters?
Well, she does. She's already proven that she's someone who does that. But she has a deep sense of integrity, I think. she's someone who's, you know, willing to fight for the right reasons, and not every person is good, especially in high-stakes situations.
Right, and this would be definitely the right reason, I think, to kind of go after somebody.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that sentiment, but Margaret is definitely willing to kill.
Now, going forward in the season, I mean, is it still a lot of the heavy action? Is she still out there fighting on the front lines, or are we going to see maybe a softer side, a different side?
Towards the end of the first season, it gets progressively more active, actually. So there's a lot more fighting, and my character is definitely at the front lines. In fact, she's left as a leader of the troops, which maybe I shouldn't have said that.
No, I think it's good that you said that. I assume that's something she takes on quite willingly.
These interviews are difficult for me. I say too much.
I would assume that that's something that she wants, to step into a leadership role. Do you think so?
I think it's just her nature to not be afraid to do exactly what she feels she needs to do in any moment, and that kind of a person ends up being a leader. Other people need people to trust.
But not, And do you think then that for you as an actor, like that's what you love about the character the most, is that she is so strong and that she is, you know, out there on the front lines being independent?
Yeah, it's awesome to be in Margaret's skin. It's great to feel like you don't care what anybody else thinks. You know your own goodness, you know your own heart. You are willing to fight for other people if you see that they need help. But in a moment, she will make a decision that a lot of people can't make.
True.
And so she's teaching me a lot.
Beaver looks like it's slipping a little bit. And I'm wondering going forward what that looks like. Is Tom going to really step up and become the first in charge, kind of overthrow him going forward?
Spoiler.com.
I am.
Do you really want to know? Am I allowed to say what's going to happen? I mean, obviously there's something going on with Captain Weaver. He's beginning to deconstruct a little bit, which puts the 2nd Massachusetts faith in their commander a little bit in jeopardy. So yeah, it all builds towards a confrontation that he and I have had coming for a while.
Do you think you would welcome that? Or do you think Tom would welcome that, I should say, to step up and be the guy?
No, I think he's very reluctant to accept any more responsibility than he's already been given. And I think if he had his choice, he'd have a healthy Captain Weaver at the helm.
Right. And his son is back now. But his son is very different from what he remembers him to be. Going forward, do we actually see maybe his connection to the Skitters, and how does that affect Tom? Does he know how to deal with that?
It builds, that's one of the big cliffhanger endings of the season. It has to do exactly with that very issue. Yes, he's back, but what the long-term effects of having worn the harness are, and what the harness actually is a major plot point that's coming up in the next few episodes.
Okay, awesome.